For as long as mankind has existed, there has existed the search for a more perfect political ideology, an ideology theorized to bring the most amount of happiness to the most amount of people. The definition of happiness, the definition of personhood, and the process by which these two are best to be reconciled has then become the main focus of political discourse and development, all of which is inherently fallacious. For I have seen the truth, the prima materia of consciousness, political nirvana. I have been freed from the tedium of political spectrums and paradigms. I have realized the epiphany. The perfect political system is not one that seeks to elevate the human condition, but rather to advance it. And what form does this advancement take? Only suffering. Suffering, not happiness, not meaning, not fulfillment, has been the true primordial motivator of civilization. Mankind's advancement of scientific thought has not brought it a new perspective on existence, but a new source of nihilistic self-contemplation and depression. Mankind's agricultural, architectural, societal progress has been made for the sole purpose of elevating itself towards heretofore unseen means of suffering. When we left the caves for the fields, left the spear and sling for the scythe and hoe, we left the most primitive means of suffering, suffering from pain, from hunger, and added the most sublime and perfect engine of suffering ever devised to our lives, unlimited in potential veracity, hunger. That is, other people. The distinction between lesser and greater advancement in a society has always been the quality and prevalence of suffering. Suffering, in short, is the only way to truly advance the human condition. An example to illustrate my point. Consider the chimpanzee in the tree, feasting on a banana. Dopamine, serotonin, neurotransmitters are released and create a temporary mood of contentment, satisfaction, freedom from hunger. Then consider the executive on the mega yacht, feasting on caviar and the tears of Congolian child miners. Dopamine, serotonin, neurotransmitters are released and create a temporary mood of contentment, satisfaction, freedom from hunger. The chimpanzee and the executive are far removed on the evolutionary tree, but they feel largely the same emotion. Increased intelligence does not provide an increased perspective on happiness. Happiness does not advance the human condition. And why should it? Happiness is a reward meant to motivate certain necessary biological processes. Happiness is not meant to be contemplated. Suffering is. Suffering is the warning, the predator in the darkness, the record of threats and dangers past. Suffering is biologically meant to be analyzed. The analysis and perception of suffering is bolstered by increased intelligence. Consider once again the chimpanzee in the tree. The chimpanzee is gutted by a wandering cheetah. The last thing it feels are great claws ripping through jugular and muscle, and perhaps a dim sensation of fear or loss. Now consider the neat in the apartment, stubbing his toe, a singular pain that prods reflection upon the meaninglessness of his empty existence, floating amidst the detritus of a once proud nation and civilization, as Zionism pervades his media and corporatism, his products, his economy, his culture imploding as norms are appended, morality degrades, and his planet steadily becomes uninhabitable. He will never afford a house, he will never have a child, he will never actualize, because he will have forgotten what actualization is. His god is saccharine and falsehood wrapped in a McDonald's Happy Meal bag. Algorithms cut and meter his soul like so much sackcloth, and chemicals his flesh. He will eat the bug and live in the pod. Such a difference in stimulus producing an inversely sophisticated result. Civilization. The progression of suffering is the progression of the human condition, the one side of the great binary that improves us by its propagation.